If you're poor, stop having children.
Oh, we can't just jump right into it.
I'm sorry. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's get into our topics for today. Yeah.
Why is my phone always dead too when we do this?
Yeah. Go charge your phone. Let's get into it. So, obviously, we understand, because we like to talk about things in a nuanced fashion. So we do understand all sides. We have family that has come from poor conditions. We definitely 100% at least empathize with people that are in emotionally, that face emotional hardships. I mean, sorry, not emotional. Financial hardships.
Yeah.
Which leads to emotional hardships too. So one and the same. Mm-hmm. So we definitely understand that. So putting that out there in case this conversation comes across insensitive. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. We see too many instances where people are having children when they're not in the most financially stable, or their familial structure is not stable, having children with people that are not going to actually be in the household with the child. Obviously, we know things happen. Everybody can't always stay together all the time. Yeah. But we see too many instances where people are in bad financial situation and then also in a bad familial arrangement, so you don't even have the emotional support of a nuclear family. And these people, and also when you don't have a nuclear family, you lose a whole other income.
Yeah.
So you have single parents that are already facing financial hardships, and then they're also having children on top of that. So it's like a double whammy of just you being in a poor financial situation. Yeah. And people are still having kids anyway, which is the craziest thing in the world to me, because obviously everybody is entitled. It's like the human birth rate. Like, everybody should be able to have children. That's what we're here for. We're here to reproduce. But for the life of me, I can't understand why people have kids and then also have multiple kids when they're in a poor financial situation. And then because you're like,
for me, almost seems like you're like having them just to like almost punish them because for your situation. Like, like the misery, what's it? Misery has company. Enjoys company. Yeah. It's almost like, oh, I'm miserable and poor, so I need someone else to be miserable and poor with me, so we could all be miserable and poor together. So I'm gonna make some people so they could be poor with me.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me that you wouldn't want to set yourself up to give your child a good life, because like people are being born. It's so crazy to me because people are being born like 200 steps behind because of somebody else's irresponsibility, and these kids didn't ask to be born, and you're giving birth to kids in these crazy conditions. And not only that, then you're complaining about how expensive the kids are, and it's like there's too many there's too many types of birth control. There's too many methods. You don't have to have sex. There's so many other different ways of not having kids. Yeah. And you should explore all of those options before you give birth to a kid when you're in a poor financial situation, because you're ruining that child.
And I want to say too, like, I get accidents happen, but pregnancy is not as accidental as people like to pretend. I saw people on Twitter, like the tweet we're going to end up bringing up, they said that. They're like, come on, let's stop acting like it's really so accidental. It's not.
It's not.
Because me and you have been together for like, we've met almost 10 years ago, right? So we've been having sex since.
Well, no, we've been saving ourselves for marriage since 2014.
Since September 2014.
We've been saving ourselves for marriage.
It's been consistent since then.
Don't listen to her. It's not true.
Only 1 month that we didn't. So it was actually the month I can remember was December 2018. But it's been every single month. And I mean, I was on birth control for most of our relationship, right? But never had a pregnancy scare. I mean, I've been off birth control for now over a year now, and we live together. My period has been here on time. Like, it just like it's not that hard to not get pregnant. Like, I even think about like our friends, right? She was they were in a long-term relationship, never had a scare or nothing. So it's not hard to not get pregnant.
Yeah, to me, if you get pregnant, it's because you wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. So to me, what you're saying is if you get pregnant, it was on purpose. And then also within that purpose, you also purposefully brought a kid in to a world where you don't have the money to even afford to take care of them in a proper way. Yeah. So to me, that's like one of the most irresponsible and like selfish things you could ever do to a human. You're putting them so far behind just because of your lack of. And before I say that, I do know people are born can't help the conditions that they're born in. So the person having that kid might have been born into conditions that weren't the greatest either.
But that should make them urge them even more than not to repeat that cycle.
Right. But people don't do that.
And people like to say it's something called eugenics when you say stuff like this. And it's like, because they try to say like, it's almost like you're trying to basically tell people they're not allowed to participate in human functions. But it's like, well, yeah, that's what we're saying. Oh yeah,
well,
that's what we're saying.
I don't know if I'm saying
like you don't have to be rich, just be financially stable. Or not. You don't even like. I mean, yeah, stability. Have some stability. You don't have to be rich. Like what the heck.
Yeah, I'm also not saying people because I know I'm saying like people they shouldn't have kids, but really what I mean is that you should have kids, but do everything you can to put them in a good position.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody can't be a millionaire. We've been beyond lucky to be in a situation that we're in personally.
It's partial luck, but a lot of it is our own.
It is, but it's based off of luck because you can't. It's luck of the draw, right? Because we could have been born to people.
We could have been, but there's people who were born to really shitty situations who are in better situations than us financially. So for me, I say yeah, there is a luck aspect to it, but also our own work put us in where we're at because there's so many people who were born into the same lucky conditions who are bums who don't do nothing with their lives who are taking steps backwards, like all that hard work your parents did, and you're taking like 10 steps backwards, like. So yeah, luck is a part of it, but our own work got us here too. You know, 'cause we still didn't have to go to school and get our degrees and all that.
No. Anyway.
Or we came to school for like, I don't know. I always try to think of a funny. I always say arts and crafts. I always like my go-to.
Gender studies.
Yeah.
That's like a wild.
Philosophy.
Those
are crazy
degrees, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Here's the thing: do what you're passionate about. Go and study what you're passionate about. But goodness gracious, be passionate about something that gets you some money, so you're not struggling.
But yeah, I'm sorry, my voice.
Your throat sounds crazy. But anyway, we're bringing this up basically because we saw a tweet where it looks like they had a baby walking around.
It's not funny. I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
With a maxi pad. They still call them maxi pads, right?
That's not a maxi pad. That one don't look like a maxi pad. It's just big because it's on the baby. That looks like a regular size pad. Yeah.
Okay. So.
But they do have maxi pads. But I don't use those because I have a very light and dainty flow.
So, this woman has a picture of a baby wearing a pad with tape around it because either she was too lazy or financially could not afford a diaper. Now, I don't know which one's worse, but I would imagine that it has to deal with the money aspect of it.
Yeah. It could be the laziness.
It could be laziness.
But I don't know because to do all this taping seems like you have to have some. That's more efforts for me than going to go buy the diapers.
Yeah, high key. But let's attack it from both perspectives. So number one, if you're lazy, don't have kids because you're making that decision to have a child and you can't pick and choose when you're raising a human and you're caring and nurturing for a human. You can't pick and choose when you want to do something for them when they're literally helpless. Yeah. Like that to me is the equivalent of saying go like telling a little 1-year-old to go find your own food. Yeah. Like go out and get your own food to eat. Like that's crazy to me.
When people always ask us like, well, first of all, we're not married yet, right? But when people always like, oh, like when are you guys having kids? I was like, for me, like one of the reasons besides not being married why I'm really like in no rush is because I'm admittedly very like I wouldn't say I'm selfish, but I am kind of selfish. Like I'm very like I love my alone time. I love coming home from work and just laying down on the couch and going to sleep whenever I want. Like I don't have to do anything except for work or if I had plans with somebody, right? I could do whatever I want. I could take a nap whenever I want. We could go out randomly on 11 o'clock at night, go out to to the club or go get dinner. We could just get up and go on vacations without having to plan it really much except around our work schedule. So for me, yeah, I'm pretty selfish. I love my independence. I love my like laziness. Like when I'm feeling lazy, I'm gonna enjoy that as much as I can. Like I feel like until you're in that mental space where I can't be lazy and I have to put my all into just one person for at least at a minimum 18 years of their life, then don't have kids. If you're not ready for that, then don't have kids. Like I feel like you can't be lazy. You can't. Yeah. And if you want to be, then don't have kids. Like I feel like people act like you have to have kids. You don't have to have kids. You really don't. Like you don't have to have them. It's not like it's not like an obligation. It's not a prophecy that you have to fulfill. There's
always a choice in life, and sometimes you can't have everything. You can't have the kids and then not care for them and still be able to go out to the club. Like you have to make choices in life, and you can't have everything. So what do you value more? Do you value your free time or do you value raising a child? Pick those decisions, but you can't have both. You can't have both. You can't have it all, and that's perfectly fine too. But like pick the life that you want.
Yeah, if you're not ready for that commitment, then don't do it.
Because you're gonna ruin this kid.
Yeah,
like this is why people like, this is why kids go out and shoot shit up. This is why people are in the streets or in the hood, because they're being born into these conditions where they're forced to survive, forced to fight for food. There's not always resources available. This is why they join gangs. This is like this kind of shit is specifically why these kinds of things happen. Like these financial things contribute to mental illness. Like I told you, I wrote about these things in college. Like this was a lot of the studies that I used to write about were based off of the like physical and psychological impacts of
like disadvantaged people.
Disadvantaged and impoverished.
I always told you that'd be a good dissertation topic if you ever went for your PhD in economics.
I should get my PhD, but
that would be like for economics, and do like the like you were just saying, like the connection between the like economics and like the physical, mental.
Yeah, you're literally ruining these kids. Like one of the studies that I wrote about was genetic mutations caused by being in poverty, and if you're impoverished and you're giving birth to a kid, like you're literally physically ruining them. Like
it's sad.
It's just crazy. So from the
laziness thing is crazy. Like that's what that girl, like in the tweet when she responded to the girl about not getting the diaper, she's like, maybe she just didn't feel like going to the store at the moment. It's like you're not allowed to have that. You don't have that luxury when you have kids. Like then don't have kids. Isn't
this duct tape too?
Yeah.
Like you want to tape adhesive
like that's
tape to your kid's
almost
skin?
To me. Like that's like crazy. Yeah, like this is literally sick. I feel like a lot of people have kids for props, or to give themselves a purpose, because they don't really have purpose in life. So it gives them a purpose. It gives them a title. It gives them some type of thing to say, like, oh, I'm a mom. Like it gives them that power trip. Yeah, personality trait, and it gives them a power trip. I'm almost like I have this person who's like a subordinate to me, who's always gonna love me. Like that whole unconditional love for my kid. Like it's so many layers to it.
Kind of like the same thing we were saying about people having spouses for props.
For props. Yeah, people who have kids for the same reason. They have it for their own selfish reason. They don't have it because they want to continue their legacy and build up this child to be the next great thing for the next generation. No, they're doing it for their own fulfillment. Yeah. And it's crazy. And then look how you're treating this baby. Like, why is there a pad and tape? Like, how do you not have empathy or just like that love for your child that you literally created? Like, it's scary. You could have died giving birth to that, and like, look what you're doing.
Very minimal effort.
Yeah. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, and I know we wanted to attack it from like the laziness and the financial part. I feel like we kind of already tackled it from the financial part, but one of the things that you mentioned in your response to this before was just talking about you don't have to be rich to be financially stable. Like those two things don't exist.
Yeah.
Like they're not dependent on one another. You don't have to be rich. Financially stable just means you're just chilling. Like you're okay.
You can make
you're not doing above and beyond.
You and your husband can make like 30 each to have 60. That's enough to pay for like a low income house and enough for your kid.
Yeah, especially depending where you are in the country.
Yeah.
Like you
not in up here, not in North Jersey.
Not where we live, but yeah, like you don't have to be rich like to have a kid. It's just,
and 30,000 each is like nothing. Like that's such an easy, probably low like skill job.
Yeah.
You can make 30K a year working full time at like a fast food place.
You can.
So people are just lazy.
DoorDashing or something.
Yeah, DoorDash something.
Yeah, do something.
Do something.
Like put some effort in. Like actually show that you like love and care for your child. Because to me,
and you want to give them a good life too. Like
the only reason I feel comfortable even saying some of these things without having kids myself is because I know that if I brought a kid into this world, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for that child.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's nothing that my parents wouldn't do for me, and I'm gonna keep continuing to pass that on, so we don't have any sort of generational curse when it comes to that. And you just
know too, like experiencing that, and like I feel like I've experienced that as well. Like maybe not like, it's not like we were spoiled, right? But we still did like ski club. We still did a lot of like, we travel and stuff. Like, don't you feel like those things were fulfilling? Like people always say like extremely money isn't fulfilling. Everything, but don't you feel like it helps you? Like
it's kind of a lot.
When you could get like the clothes that you want, you traveling, you could join clubs. Like not being able to do those things actually hurts the self-esteem of a child, which could cause so much trauma. Like, because then you feel like you're poor, you're embarrassed by it. Like it's so deep.
Yeah.
Kids bully you for it. Like if depending on what you're wearing, there's so many adults that still hold that trauma about when they was made fun of for the clothes that they couldn't wear, or their shoes. Like there are people holding on to that trauma for like 30 years, their whole life. Like you see your dad sometimes talks about that, like how he still remembers that, and like your dad's like in his mid 50s and he still thinks about stuff like that.
Because that stuff's traumatic. It's like your first traumatic experiences are that.
Yeah, and like that's crazy. Like it's sad. It seems materialistic. It seems dumb. But
But
it's not like,
it's
why would you
not.
not want to spoil them and have your kid love life and feel good and just feel happy? Like,
We got to correct the phrase that money isn't everything.
it is.
Because money is everything except for the health aspect, and even to
Yeah.
some degree, money has an impact on health too.
And I do agree that money isn't like, when they say money doesn't buy happiness, I do agree, because there could be rich people who are unhappy, but to say that it's not linked to happiness is stupid.
It's crazy
But it is.
because everything that you see in life, like where you live,
Yeah.
the people that are listening or watching whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
the devices you're listening or watching on, the internet that you're on,
Yeah.
the house you're in, the couch you're sitting on, the school you go to, the car you drive, literally everything you see
Everything.
has something to do with money.
Yeah.
The only thing that has nothing to do with money to a certain extent is your health. And of
Yeah.
course, money can't buy that,
Your
but sometimes,
emotions.
but to a certain extent it can, because
Yeah.
people with more money can afford better health care, health
Better
treatments, and
doctors.
so forth. So that's the one thing it can buy. But other than that, money is pretty much everything. It can't
Yeah.
buy mental health either, of course.
Because there's some rich people who have really crazy kids, like, who just unfortunately just that's something they can't really.
That kind of stuff you can't help. But
Yeah.
that's like about 20% of it. Like 80% of that really has everything to do with money.
Yeah.
So, I just think people should be more responsible with what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's just crazy because, like, if you're struggling as an individual, like, why create more struggle because, like, you're making it harder for yourself too.
Yeah, that's the other part.
So you're worsening your own conditions, and you're also now bringing someone along the ride who didn't even ask to be here.
Yeah, you're impacting your own health. The stress, you're gonna definitely die earlier because of the stress, and cause more health impacts. And you're not even gonna be around for the kid as long as you could have been, because you put that own stress on yourself, creating
And just
your own scenarios.
Yeah.
Like,
and just for me, like, especially now with the internet and social media, it's just like throws me off to see people like still just continuing like destructive cycles. It's just sad because, like, it's like, when is it gonna stop?
Yeah, and don't let me see you doing something like that, and then I see a Louis Vuitton bag in a picture somewhere, because then I'm gonna lose my mind.
Like, come on, you're at Louis Vuitton, but your baby's wearing a pad, like, and tape.
And then you probably tweeted that picture, or sent it to
No, her
friends.
friend actually-
I know her
her friend
friends posted it.
yeah.
But like,
Which is crazy too, because sometimes your friends be ops. But I mean, maybe you were meant to be exposed.
yeah, that's something that, like, let's hold people responsible, like, for real. But even still, let's say that person, like, that's the type of stuff that people post, or take pictures of, because I've seen it not like this post specifically, but just with other types of posts where people will post something and then, like, be laughing about it, like it's a joke.
Yeah.
Like, haha, I made this thing because
like they're thinking it's not, like, they're not gonna get backlash because they're living in their own bubble brain.
yeah, like, that stuff's not funny. Like, people would rather be funny and get the retweets as opposed to, like, doing something that's dope, like, or just cool. Like, it's more of a flex showing I bought 80 boxes of diapers for my baby. Like, that kind of stuff. Like, people,
our kids gonna be spoiled. Like,
people, I don't know about spoiled.
maybe not spoiled, but they're gonna
just
live
be
a good
taken
life.
care of.
They're gonna live a good life.
They're just gonna be taken care of.
They're gonna have cute little fits. They're gonna have.
I don't care about all that superficial stuff. I'm just talking about from, like,
No, they're gonna be traveling the world.
a specific part about just childcare. Like, I don't care about all that.
No, they're gonna be comfortable. They're gonna be very well taken care of, well fed.
And that's the flex. It's not. That's more of a flex than, haha, I taped the pad to my baby and kiki.
Like, how's that funny?
It's not
Like,
funny.
especially if that kid gets older, they're gonna look at that and be like, I mean, depending on the kid, right?
That's how you know we're in crazy times, where people are, like, laughing about broke
Abuse.
shit. And abuse.
Literally, it's abuse. For me, it's considered abusive behavior, I feel like.
Like, when did that become cool?
Yeah.
I thought getting money was cool.
Yeah.
I thought having a nice family.
Yeah.
And we don't know her whole situation, but come on.
Yeah, there's nothing to know.
I don't need to know nothing else.
I don't even need to know any context to this. Like,
That could have been a one-time thing too, but I don't care. Bro.
I don't
like,
care.
I'm telling you right now, if my child needed a diaper, I don't care if the store is sold out. We're gonna be
and
driving.
the thing is too, even if it's like 1:00 in the morning, there's stuff open. This lots of times those gas stations will have diapers sometimes. Like there's stores that you can go.
Even aside from that, I'm not running down the box of diapers
Yeah,
to the last one.
Yeah. Cause that's just crazy. Like, where's the care? Like, this is your child. Like,
It's a human.
It's a human.
People don't view children as humans. That's why they just get pregnant by anything and anything walking.
It's a lot of, like, layers to this, and it's just sad to see. Like, for me, I just feel bad for the kids. Like, I'm grateful for our life, and I'm grateful for, like, the future that we're gonna have. But it's just, you know, and like at the end of the day, I always say like, it's not my life. I don't care. But I do feel bad for the kids. And I just do feel bad for like.
Yeah, because they didn't ask for it.
Yeah. And I just feel like this is like destructive to our community. And the reason why it does affect me though is because those same kids are going to grow up. And
in the same schools with our kids.
Yeah, with our kids. Or, you know, they might meet them in the workforce when they're older. Like these, you know, those damaged people are going to become adults and they're going to interact with people who aren't damaged and then they're going to create damage. Like imagine like, think about like how me, right? I feel like I wasn't really a damaged person, but then we went to college and you meet people who are products of damaged households and how they damaged me. Like now I got traumas because I've dealt with crazy people because probably what they dealt with growing up. So it's like, that's what I get concerned about. Like our kids are going to cross paths with these kids and that's when it affects us, you know? Okay, now you got to worry for your kids' safety because they're going to be around some volatile individuals because their mom wanted to put a pad and tape around them.
Yep.
And stress out their own kids because they're broke. So now your kids got to deal with arguing and trauma in the household and chaos and abuse, probably, you know, child abuse sometimes a link to that.
Definitely.
Child abuse is usually related to like relationship stress and the parent themselves being short tempered because of maybe their own trauma. Like it's just so many layers to it. And it's just, it's just annoying to me. So yeah, it doesn't affect us necessarily, but it does because those kids, like I said, will grow up with our kids and now we gotta worry about that.
Yep. Do better, yo.
But we're gonna send our kids to private school. I'm just kidding. Nah, I want our kids to have a public school experience the same way we did. For the Bill's character. And I'm not spending money on private school. We'll get you a good education at a good public school. And
New Jersey has the best schools in the country. So
and lots of times the towns that you pick too will definitely help. Like if your kids growing up in like North Huntington, Voorhees, like the more nicer neighborhoods, then you're gonna have a better. They're more likely to have a good experience. More not guaranteed, right? Because we just said people with money sometimes their kids still have problems, and
for sure
having money doesn't make you a good parent either. So a lot of times their kids end up being very volatile themselves. So, but I feel like you increase the chances when you live in nicer neighborhoods. So
yeah.